Hello and welcome to the Dead Red Herring movie riffraff.
Greetings.
And this time we're gonna make a review of Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters.
Witch hunters?
Yeah.
Those hunters.
Those hunters.
Oh,
Witch Hunters.
those. Who's on first?
Ah.
A
Suddenly turns into a what?
Abbott and Costello sketch.
Yeah.
Anyways,
What to say about this movie?
a lot actually.
Yeah. First off, way better than you expect it to be.
And that is really weird because when you hear a title like Hansel and Gretel, Witch Hunters, you think like, oh, what the fuck is this?
This is gonna be bad.
Yeah.
And then you watch it and go like,
Well, that was entertaining.
yeah, exactly.
I felt like we had the same reaction with Jonah Hex.
Yeah. And a bit with Space Truckers.
Yeah. So like, never judge a movie by its title. Let's just say that.
Title, cover, reviews. Always make up your own mind.
That's why we're here, to make up your mind.
Yes. Anyways,
Yes.
first off, the most important thing to do when you look at this movie is to turn off that part in your brain that searches for any kind of historical accuracy.
Yeah. You won't find it.
Yeah. And then you turn off the side that wants to make things make sense.
Hmm.
And then you'll have a pretty decent movie.
You basically sit there with a reptilian brain.
Or look at it like, hey, I could put this in a role-playing game.
Ooh, inspiration!
Yeah. So what's the movie about?
The movie is about the classic fairy tale of Hansel and Gretel being led out in the forest by their piss-poor dad, as we're led to believe at first.
Yep.
We'll get to that.
But,
At first, so they go out in the forest, get lost, and find a gingerbread house. And I think we all know how the fairy tale went. Oh, well, a candy house.
in this case, more of a candy house.
It's
but
an
yeah,
edit-
in the classic Brother Grimm fairy tale, it's supposed to be a gingerbread house.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's an edible house.
Yeah. And there's a witch inside that
Could
wants
be
to eat
meatloaf for all
them,
I
so-
care. But yeah, a witch inside that wants to eat.
Oh, meatloaf.
Yeah,
Now I'm sad.
That wants to fed them up and eat them.
Fed
and
'em up.
fed up with them. I want to eat them.
Yeah.
And keeping them slaves. That's, yeah.
At least the witch wants to pork up poor Hans.
Yeah. But, as per fairy tale,
Mm-hmm.
they managed to overpower the witch.
The witch and burn her!
Burn the witch. Toss her in the oven. And,
And,
witch's side ensues.
Yeah, and this is where the movie makes its own thing and turn the siblings into witch hunters.
Yeah. They basically says, well, we're good at this. We can do this elsewhere.
Yeah.
And just goes out in the world and finds prosperity in slaughtering witches.
Based.
I would do too. So, cut to 15 years later, they're in a town that is played by a witch, and yeah.
And we're introduced to the other characters in the movie, one of them being played by none other than Peter Stormare.
Yeah?
And this time he does not have a Russian accent,
No?
but he is loud and obnoxious.
As per usual.
Mm.
And violent. As per usual. And violent. So, they basically come over a witch plot to make a potion that will make them invulnerable to fire.
So the witches can have reign supreme and take over the world and stuff like that.
and
And eat all the children they want.
Yes, and we're only a couple days away from the Witches' Sabbath, which will be the time they will do the ritual to make them all immortal and make the potion. Yada, yada, yada. Very simple plot.
Very simple. You more or less just explained it all away now.
Well, you asked me to. Well, that's the thing about a simple plot. It's very simple, too.
So now, with plot out of the way, we come into the more interesting elements. Because this movie, if we're gonna take the old fairy tale as the base, it would make you think it's supposed to take place in a historical Central European time. But not in this movie.
No.
This movie does not know what era it's in.
Historical ambiguity.
Very much so. Technological ambiguity.
Very much.
Medicinal ambiguity.
newspaper ambiguity.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
Firearms ambiguity.
Say, what does Hansel do with the pump shotgun?
Pump action shotgun in Central Europe in what could be perceived as 17, maybe early 1800s.
I mean, the pump action shotgun doesn't make an entrance in Central Europe in many years, and it makes more of a fire introduction.
Well, we got a fine introduction in the trenches.
Exactly.
Yeah. Where the Germans were like, hey, you can't use that. That's a war
cheating.
crime. And the Americans were like, hey, lol, reloads.
You can't do that. That's a war crime. Now let me just get my gas.
Well, the gas wasn't a war crime until later.
Oh, well.
After they used it. That's why it became a war crime.
It's not a war crime until it's pronounced a war crime. Okay.
Also,
I will remember this.
You can't perform war crime if you don't sign the Geneva Conventions.
True.
That's what I've been told, at least.
True. Food for thought, people. But anyways.
Hey, kids, want to commit some war crime?
Yes.
But going back to the movie, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun.
Yeah.
A bit stupid, a bit quirky, a little bit of ham on that, but entertaining.
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching it, even though there were parts where I went like, what the fuck?
What the hell?
And that's because I had not managed to turn off
yeah.
those parts of the brain, which was more or less required to be turned off.
Was still awake. Not for long.
But once I got into more of the thinking of, hey, I can enjoy this movie if I think of it as like a game of, I don't know, Dungeons and Dragons-ish. Or just some tabletop game. Way much better experience.
Definitely.
Well, there still are some parts where I'm going like, well, why the fuck did you do it like that?
What the hell?
Yeah.
Where did you get insulin from?
Yeah, that's actually one part.
In this version, after being fed up,
with all the sugar,
sugar and goodness,
yeah,
Hans is come down with a case of sugar sickness or diabetes. Diabetes.
Yep, and which he has to take insulin through, I don't know, a fucking horse needle?
Yeah.
Whenever a gadget on his wrist, which is more like, it's supposed to be a timer.
Yeah.
But it's just a hunk of plastic, really.
Yeah.
And fitting enough for the plot, whenever that fucker rings, suddenly he gets fatigued.
Oh no, I'm coming down with the case of diabetes.
Yeah. And it's no slow progression or like you notice how he slows down. Nope. That thing buzzes and suddenly he drops.
Oh yeah, now I remember. Yeah, horse needle or like a turkey baster.
Either way, he jams that shit in his thigh.
Big ass needle.
Chakun. Oh. Yep.
Brutal.
And not to say, the weapons that they use, very plastic.
Very plastic.
A bit too plastic. A lot in this movie is very obviously plastic.
Yeah.
Even the witches'
makeup, clothes.
Yeah.
Everything.
You know, like Hellraiser on a budget.
Yeah.
Which was already on a budget.
Hellraiser, if it was made in the show Face Off.
Yeah. On a budget.
On a budget. Time constraint and on a budget.
Mm-hmm.
Not a good combination, people.
Nope.
But apart from that, even if it is a little plastic fantastic in all senses, it really comes down to almost the same feeling that we get from like Weird West style.
Yeah, and that's why I think I enjoyed it as much as I did, because it had the typical elements you would kind of expect to get from a good session of role-playing games.
Yeah.
Combined with just a lackadaisy attitude.
Yeah.
The movie did not take itself serious.
No, definitely
But it made a serious enough attempt of just being entertaining.
Yeah.
And it paid off.
Definitely.
In my opinion. And also boobs.
Damn right. So what more can we say? Who made this movie?
Hey, you know that.
Yeah, Tommy Wirkola. Or
however the fuck you pronounce his name.
Yeah, Norwegian.
Jävla norrman!
Tom. No, inte.
It's not Finnish.
My synapses are burning out right now. Help me. Yeah, Tommy Wirkola, a Norwegian writer and director.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a collaboration with American and German film studios.
Mm-hmm.
Produced by Will Ferrell, among other people.
That kind of threw me off.
That was a I did not expect that.
Yeah.
So what else has Tommy done? Well, it's kind of a niche movie, but he and another one of his pals went on, but before that made a movie called Dead Snow, a kind of a Norwegian cult classic, I would almost say.
I like that movie.
And that premise is like a group of people gets caught in a cabin out in the mountains, and there are zombie Nazis.
Mm-hmm. And a fecal fetish.
And
we sold the movie.
One was more marketable than others.
Yep. One of those things made me go, what the fuck? And it was not the zombies.
It was not the zombies. So if you want to have enjoyment, watch that movie and watch the sequel. It's even more wackier. I'm not going to go into that right now, but
at some point
we might get to.
Yep. But going back to Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah.
We haven't even mentioned who's playing the leads.
Oh, fuck, right. Yeah.
Hansel is played by none other than our good boy Hawkeye.
Jeremy Renner himself.
Yep. And his sister, Gretel, is played by Gemma Arterton.
Arterton.
Interesting name. Arterton.
Don't be a rough American and say that. Arterton.
Yeah. And she has been in Quantum of Solace.
Yeah. So, I mean...
one of the most forgettable Bond movies ever.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, I mean, if you're down for a no-brains, full-on entertainment, munching on popcorn kind of movie, this one is it.
Definitely. I would say so as well.
Yeah. I actually recommend this movie.
We don't say that often.
No, we don't. I think it's only 2 times we said that now.
And they all have the same premise.
Yeah. They're entertaining, and that's what it's all about.
And that is what matters.
Yes. So if you're going to give this movie a rating, what would you give it?
I would give it a separating crossbow out of 10.
I would give it a cleanup on the local feminist meeting.
Right.
I fucking love that scene.
Witch Sabbath go boom.
And of course, don't forget, you can watch our commentary on the movie.
Yep.
Link in the description.
Yeah. You'll see it.
So with that said, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll be back with another one soon.
See you later, witches, bitches.